All right, welcome back. Well, have you ever walked into a store and wanted to buy a bottle of wine, maybe for an upcoming dinner or a holiday party, even, and you didn't know where to start? You may have been overwhelmed. You weren't sure what to buy, but you did want to get something that's perfect for the occasion. Well, joining us today is Philip James. He's a certified wine specialist and founder CEO of First Leaf. Philip, thanks for being with us today.
Well, Claire, thank you for having me.
All right. So you were just telling me a little bit about your background because I asked, how do you become a certified wine specialist? It sounds like a pretty cool job.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, I pretty much spent my whole career in the wine industry. So, 15 plus years in wine and almost all of that e-commerce of wine as well. And like I said, I have a number of qualifications in wine at this point, but yeah, they have fancy names like that.
All right. So just for maybe a beginner, like one of our viewers who may not be very familiar with wine, wanted to select a nice bottle maybe to take to a dinner or an upcoming holiday party. Do the wine labels, do the prices, do they tell us anything about the wine? What's your recommendation?
So again, it is a bit of a challenge, right? The average store will sell, it could be 1,000 different wine labels and brands and SKUs, and the wine comes from all over, right? Different grapes, different regions, different tastes, and so on. And I think it is a real challenge. Often there's no real helpful information, right? Just because it has an animal or an eagle or a building on the label, you don't know what it's going to taste like. And often the back label might have some information, but it may not be that instructive. And so, what I really encourage people to figure out, and I think you need kind of someone's help with this, is you have to understand a little bit about your own tastes. And I think you have to sort of sit down with someone who knows a bit about wine and have them walk you through it. And so it doesn't have to be an exam or anything as formal as I have, but otherwise, it's kind of just a game of hit and miss. And so, I do think that people kind of need a little bit of guidance to make a good decision.
And so with First Leaf, do you get that? Do you get that guidance? Do you take that survey to find out sort of what you like?
So absolutely, and that's 100% exactly what we do. And I started this company because I am even still someone who doesn't know how to pick wine in a grocery store or in a restaurant. And no matter how much you know, right? Again, I have multiple wine qualifications. I've done this for more than 15 years. I think by any normal standards, I'm an expert in wine. But you can give me a restaurant wine list and it's terrifying, right? Because it just says, this owner and this grape and this region, but I don't know how they made it, how they grew it, how they blended it before they bottled it. And so what we do at First Leaf is we ask people some very basic questions that anyone could answer. And from that, we then will help make those recommendations. And the more you engage, a bit like Netflix or Spotify, the more you engage over time, the recommendations themselves get increasingly accurate. And I think that kind of guidance is what a lot of people are looking for, particularly in those grocery store or restaurant type environments.
If one of our viewers is maybe sitting down at a restaurant, like you mentioned, and just sees some of the basic information, and are there any questions they could ask the server that would maybe steer them in the right direction of what they might enjoy?
So there are, and I think the biggest challenge is if you aren't professionally trained, if you don't have a wine qualification, you kind of don't have the words to use. And so it's imagine trying to describe a perfume, right? And you're like, it smells nice, right? But good luck knowing that that's vanilla and that's musk or, whatever the other things are. And so one thing we actually do provide for, all of our members is this short description of what it is around the wines you like, right? So I know I like wines with full body, lower acidity, medium tannins. And I know that, I mean, I've learned that over time, right? But the site will tell you that. And if you can just take a copy of it, screenshot or something, I think you could probably just show it to the sommelier. And at that point, they could pick a wine for you.
I love that. Okay, I've got to ask you, what are some of your favorite wines?
I mean, I have a whole bunch, right? We make wine from all over the world, up and down the West Coast. We import wine from a dozen countries as well. So I do have a luxury of choice here. I'm always plugging sparkling wine, right? In England and across Europe, people will drink sparkling wine on a Monday afternoon, but in the US, people think of it as like a wedding or a New Year
Mhm.
thing. Sparkling wine can pair very well with really many foods. So particularly like a rosé sparkling wine, I like. I do love my big kind of Napa cabs. Our headquarters are in Napa, and so I do get to try a lot of those. But I also like a kind of off dry, like a Riesling or a robust Chardonnay. And so like I have a luxury of not needing to choose. I think, like cheese or like movies or many other things. I think people should try a whole range of what they like.
I love that. Well, as we wrap up, where can people get more information about First Leaf if they wanted to go learn more about wine?
Sure. So just go to firstleaf.com. The quiz and the results, of course, that's free. And if you like the wines, go ahead and check out. We also have a mobile app. And you talked about, what would you do in a store or a restaurant? And our mobile app, again, free, will actually let you scan the barcode, not just of our wines, but thousands of other wines that are sold across the US. And when we know enough about you, we'll let you know if we think that third-party wine is a good match for your taste or not.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Well, Philip James, we appreciate you being with us today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.